Just ahead on American Black Journal, the National Association of Black Journalists brings its annual convention and career fair to Detroit. We'll get details on this major event and what it means for the city. Plus, we'll talk about the current and future outlook for African Americans in the media. Don't go away. American Black Journal starts now.
American Black Journal is funded by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first.
How does diversity bring energy to us all? At DTE Energy, we believe that it's the contributions of all that build great communities. As a company, we grow stronger by welcoming the unique perspectives of everyone. As community members, we support our state's broad culture and heritage. From working closely with women and minority-owned suppliers to embracing our local cultures, DTE Energy is powering diversity. The DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public Television. Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. Detroit is going to host more than 3,000 journalists, media professionals, and students at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention and Career Fair next month. The annual event features newsmakers in politics, journalism, media, and film. Plus, it attracts recruiters from top media companies and journalism schools. The last time the convention was here in Detroit was in 1992. So with the help of the Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau, the NABJ created a video to welcome visitors to the Renaissance City. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Mayor Mike Duggan, and I want to welcome the National Association of Black Journalists National Convention and Career Fair here to Detroit.
Hello everyone, I'm Larry Alexander, CEO of the Detroit Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'm standing here in the center of our great city at Campus Martius Park. This city has come back in many tremendous ways. If you haven't been to Detroit lately, you haven't seen the real Detroit.
Hi NABJ, I'm Vincent McCraw, an editor at the Detroit News and president of Detroit NABJ. Welcome to our great city.
My name is Dennis Archer. I'm the former mayor of the city of Detroit. Some facts that you may not know. Detroit was founded by French settlers on July 24, 1701. That was 75 years for the rest of the country declared independence.
Hello, NABJ. I'm Vickie Thomas with WWJ News Radio 950 and your Region 2 Director. Welcome to our city. Did you know Detroit is the 23rd most populous city in the United States and the largest city on the U.S.-Canada border?
I'm Hugh Perkins with Fox 2 News. Did you know that we're connected to Canada through a tunnel and the Ambassador Bridge, making us the busiest international crossing in North America?
Greetings from Hitsville, USA, the birthplace of Motown. I'm Robin Terry, chairwoman and CEO of Motown Museum. Did you know Detroit is one of the top tourist destinations in the country with over 19 million visitors? They come to see our Motown Museum, the DIA, the Charles Wright Museum. We've got supper clubs, nightclubs, jazz clubs, so much to see in Detroit. We even have our own island. Come and check us out.
Hello, NABJ. I'm Alicia Bowler-Davis, Executive Vice President with General Motors Manufacturing. Did you know Detroit is the center of the U.S. automobile industry and the metro home of the Big Three?
Hello, NABJ. I'm meteorologist and reporter Andrew Humphrey, right here at WDIV, Local 4 in Detroit. Also a life member of NABJ. Another interesting fact, in June 1963, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech right here in Detroit 2 months before he gave it on the National Mall in Washington, D.C.
Hi, I'm Catrice Stafford, and I'm the City Hall reporter at the Detroit Free Press. Did you know Detroit is becoming a mecca for artists, musicians, and young entrepreneurs? Yes, it's about to be a millennial hub where you can create a career rather than look for a job.
And there's one more thing you may not know about Detroit. We're home to 4 fabulous professional sports teams. The Pistons, the Lions, the Red Wings, and the Tigers all make Detroit their home.
You got to get out there and feel and touch and see not only the stories, but the physical sites that are never talked about. And I think you'll actually, as journalists, probably find a bunch of very interesting stories that nobody's telling.
Detroit has wonderful attractions, and we have a special passport for NABJ members that you can get stamped when visiting these sites before entering it into a grand prize drawing.
So don't miss NABJ 2018, which has the largest communications job fair, dozens of skilled workshops, and hundreds of opportunities to meet your next employer.
You see students who are excited about all the technology businesses and jobs and action and activity in their own hometown and their ability to play a part in the comeback, as well as their ability to work here.
I hope you get a chance to experience all that our city has to offer and to see our comeback firsthand.
From one NABJ member to another, thank you for coming to our city.
Come on in, we're waiting for you to get here.
If you haven't been to Detroit lately,
You don't know Detroit.
Come to Detroit, be a part of our great city. We're here to welcome you and be sure your experience is phenomenal. Remember, it's go time, Detroit.
It's go time. If you haven't been to Detroit lately, you don't know Detroit. I love those phrases. Joining me now to talk about the NABJ convention are Vickie Thomas. She is the NABJ Region 2 Director. Jamilah Jackson, a member of the NABJ Detroit chapter. Sheila Neal from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Alicia Nails from Wayne State University's Journalism Institute for Media Diversity. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thanks for having us, Stephen.
So 26 years since NABJ has been here. I remember that conference in '92 because I was a student. That's how long ago.
Yes, right.
It was true. So tell me, why has it taken so long for us to get it back, and why we should be excited that we have it?
Well, you know how Detroit is considered the underdog, right?
We can't win.
Right, we just can't win. So people, and I think Dan Gilbert, who you saw in that video, has said it, other folks have said it, perceptions die hard, right?
Yeah.
So I think people still have negative perceptions of the city, and I'm on the national board, so we have to do the business of the organization. So we want to go places where we know that NABJ will do well, where we'll get the sponsorship and the support from the local government. And we got that here in Detroit. And we've exceeded all expectations. And I knew we would. But, you know, some of my colleagues may not have thought that.
Job there.
Right. But,
so talk about, I mean, for people who are not journalists and maybe have never been to this conference, talk about why this is special.
This is a big deal, and I think the mayor recognizes it. I think our corporations recognize it. The local chapter certainly recognizes it. We're journalists, and we cover the city objectively, but we still live in the city. I love Detroit. I love Highland Park. I grew up in Highland Park, and so I'm passionate about this city. Do we still have problems? Yes, we do. This convention can actually help change the image of Detroit,
right,
the perceptions.
The people who tell the story.
Yeah, the people come and they, even if they're not going to write a story about it or do a broadcast about it, they'll go tell someone who will tell someone that you got to go see what's happening in Detroit. For yourself.
Sheila, this is something that we're seeing more and more happen in Detroit. More and more organizations that 5 or 10 years ago would have said, we're not going to come to Detroit, are saying, well, let's try it out, and they're finding that it's a lot better. than they would suspect.
Absolutely. It's happening all around. NABJ is going to start it, and the momentum was starting, and we're expecting it to catapult to even a higher level. National Association of Black Journalists, as you know, is coming this summer. We have Facing Race, we have Women of Color, we have National Black MBA coming, National Society of Black Engineers. So there's a plethora of groups that are looking at Detroit, choosing Detroit, and saying that Detroit, it's go time, and they're coming here.
Yeah. In some ways, I feel like the city's change narrative is starting to maybe work in our favor. In other words, that we're doing enough that's different, and it's getting talked about enough that people are starting to see us differently. Do you feel that too?
Absolutely, from a lot of different aspects. You have an entrepreneurial spirit that is going around. So it's not just about big business, but you have grassroots that are coming in and looking at Detroit and seeing it as not only a technology hub, but an innovation hub. So that's one start of it. And then the second thing is big business is looking at Detroit in different ways. You have a lot of ones that were out in the suburbs that are coming into downtown Detroit and understanding that they need to have a presence here and that they need to speak, talk the talk and walk the walk and say what's going on. But also the new restaurants. I mean, the restaurants are coming from all different fashions. So it doesn't have to be a big box restaurant, but you have a lot of urban restaurants that are popping up all around the city, and people are not only enjoying it, but they're telling other people about it. And social media has done a huge component in making sure that this gets out. So you've got social media, you've got the journalists, you've got a lot of different people all saying the same thing. There's something going on in Detroit, and you need to see it firsthand.
Alicia, in a little bit, I want to have you talk more about diversity in media more generally. But I know as a longtime journalist, this is one of your favorite events of the year.
Oh, it is.
You've got to be beside yourself that it's going to be here in Detroit.
And I tell my students at Wayne State University, we went every year when we were young. And there's no I cannot understate. I cannot overstate what the National Association of Black Journalists does for careers, for the networking. The workshops are so substantive. As a matter of fact, there are some workshop tracks that I see myself going in and out of 2 or 3 workshops at the same time. We've got movers and shakers, newsmakers, news executives, and innovators coming from all over the country here to Detroit. They're going to see a city that if you've ever come to Detroit in the summer, you already know Detroit is amazing, even in our worst days. So now we're seeing our best days.
And you know what I really am curious to see, Stephen, because we've seen it, right? You were a student. I was vice president of broadcast with the local chapter in '92. But I want to hear from some of the attendees this year who were here in '92.
Who were here 26 years ago.
Tell us how they feel about Detroit now versus then, because it's a huge difference.
Yeah, it is. Jamilah, you wrote a piece about why millennial women ought to come to NABJ. Talk about what argument you're making there.
Well, I first became a member of NABJ when I was a member of the institute that Alicia is the director of. She was one of the people that was telling me, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go. So I finally went the year I graduated from Wayne State University in 2015. And it was just black girl magic. I was so scared. I was so nervous. I'm like, I don't know how to wear my hair. Do I wear a weave? What makes me more presentable to the recruiters? And when I saw all these young women with their natural hair, I'm like, this is home.
I'm okay.
I feel safe. I feel seen. I feel heard. So it's just one of those places that you need to be as a young black woman to feel that confidence in, an industry where they're telling you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way. And here at NABJ, it's not like that at all.
So. Talk about some of the things that will happen here that are notable this year. Some of the people who are coming.
Oh yeah! Wow! Let's start with Tyler Perry. Everybody is really excited about that. That was one of our first big wins, and he will be doing a master class. So that's one of them. Vickie Winans, our own Vickie Winans, will be here for the gospel brunch. And you can attend the gospel brunch. You can just go to our, you can buy a ticket. NABJ.org is the website. We also have Bobby Brown coming. That was just announced that Bobby Brown will be here Spike Lee was here back in 1992, and he will be here in 2018.
There you go.
And the Klansman, the movie, The Black Klansman, that we're going to screen that and have a discussion with him. Sean Robinson's coming back home. She will actually interview Spike Lee during the screening. And she's also going to be our MC for the Detroit chapter fundraiser, which will be at Little Caesars Arena. We have a town hall that will focus on diversity in the D, that will look at diversity in the city. You know the discussion, is it enough African Americans getting the work, the jobs, that sort of thing. And we'll also look at diversity in the media. Are we making any progress? Are we going backwards? There was just an article about how we're losing ground in radio, and as someone in radio, that's a huge concern to me. We've got workshops.
I was going to say, the workshops are the thing that I feel like makes this a really different conference, even from other journalism conferences that you go to. They really are high level, right?
Notch. One of my favorite, as regional director, I have to do a regional conference every year. This year it was in Indianapolis, and I had Ron Nixon come in, and Ron is with the New York Times. He's their Washington correspondent. This guy knows how to dig for data. So he's doing a session on that. That's what we do as journalists, dig for data. So that's one of them. For our millennials, for folks graduating now, from the classroom to the newsroom. Right? So you get practical. It's called training day. So podcasting, that's big now. So how do you pitch your podcast? How do you do a podcast? We have a session on the Black press. What's the state of the Black press? United Nations Foundation is sponsoring a panel covering the migration crisis, a hot topic. We have a session on covering the LGBT community. Jesse Jackson's going to be here. It's just going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
A lot of high-profile people and events. Sheila, before we talk about media diversity, I want you to talk a little more about this moment in Detroit and the convention moment, I guess, in Detroit, and where we see that headed. Hotel space is always an issue. Do we have enough? Do we have enough that's high quality? But I feel like some of those questions are being answered in the last few years in the really affirmative way that they hadn't been for a long time.
Our president, Larry Alexander, has been very strategic with this. One thing that's important to us is knowing the quality. And we have very high-end hotels in downtown Detroit. We have about 5,200 on peak. So it makes for a nice variety of groups that can come to the city. But also, if you think about the caliber, how many destinations do you go to where we have casino properties? The big box that's 2/3 owned by General Motors, the Detroit Marriott at the Renaissance Center. That hotel stays pristine. So it's off the waterfront. We've made sure that the caliber of hotels for all ranges are here, but also the restaurants within that area. So whether it's a large convention or a small convention, we have enough hotels to handle that capacity. And then now the people mover, connecting everything. So making sure that experience goes well for people getting around. And then these activation centers close to those areas. So if you want to be in a certain area, whether it's Campus Marshes or other key areas, there's a lot of activity now strategically being put in those areas to make sure you are not only enjoying the hotel experience, the convention experience, but the overall outside of the property experience.
And then Cobo Hall, which for a long time sat languishing as we argued over how to fix it. We finally came to agreement. No one was perfectly happy with that agreement, which I always think is the sign of a good agreement, right? Everyone goes away a little bit mad. But in the end, we have a world-class convention hall.
Not only is it world-class, it's beautiful. It's right off of the water. It's on an international border.
You can actually see the water from inside now, which you didn't used to be able to do.
How many locations can you get that? And then, too, the money that they've invested in it. So the scores have come back extremely well with all of the events we've hosted there, and that's important. And every strategic detail has been looked at to make sure no matter who hosts an event there, the investment of over $290 million was a good investment, not only to the community, but to the region.
Yeah, we had to do that.
It was definitely.
In fact, I want people to see Cobo, so I'm hosting my Region 2 directors reception at Cobo. And showcasing Hubert Massey, who's doing that giant fresco there.
That's going to be
I was
really
actually
cool.
one of the models for.
Were you? That's why you want people to go over there.
Well, it's about him, though. It's all about him.
Right.
We have a 5K Fiat Chrysler. We're bringing back the 5K. We've got healthy NABJ. We're going to have a meditation room, workouts, you name it. So we've got everything
really
covered. The folks have been great. Rock Ventures, Bedrock, Dan Gilbert's companies, they have stepped up. They're doing our day of service. So for our day of service, what we'll do on that Saturday is work with small businesses and small nonprofits and help them learn how to deal with the media, how to get coverage, how to tell your story, how to get your social media right. So that is going to be huge. And our president, Sarah Glover, is really excited about that because that's going to leave a lasting impression on the people
people who are here.
Exactly.
Sure. Let's talk a little about media diversity in the time we have left. As Vickie said, we continue to get news that we're not making progress, that in some ways we're slipping back. Your work is focused on increasing diversity in media. How does it look from your chair?
Well, it can be frustrating for young journalists who have ideas and aesthetics, and when they go into the newsroom, they have to advocate for them or not. So, anytime you're dealing in a system where it's subjective, is this an important story or not? Why is the story important and not? Some newsrooms are more supportive of hearing that outsider voice and letting people advocate for a story or do it a different way. Some are not. So what we know, though, is that a journalism degree will prepare you for 1,000 different careers. Working in a newsroom prepares you for 1,000 different careers.
It does.
And it really affects the media story when your interactions with coworkers, expectations. But what I also say is to the consumers of the media, if you hear something on the radio or see something on the television or read something in a magazine or online and you have an objection to it, or you think that, for instance, just this whole thing about illegal immigrants, their children have been separated because they're illegal. Some of those people presented themselves at checkpoints for seeking asylum. That is not illegal.
That's not illegal.
So it's these narratives that we allow, lazy reporting is what I call it. So I'm on the phone and emailing all the time. I work at a university, and so I have the luxury to do that, and it's my responsibility to do that. But this is what others should do.
We need other people doing.
Because what you're doing is supporting people of color and like-minded people who are not of color. You're supporting their voice in the newsroom. When they're in that morning meeting and they're the only person saying something,
you need other people saying
they need feedback
the same
that goes
thing.
with it.
Jamilah, I'm really, go ahead.
I just want to break a little bit of news here on American Black Journal.
That's important.
Obviously, we recognize our own at our convention.
Yes.
And I want to announce right now that Alicia Nail is Educator of the Year.
Thank you.
There you go.
She will be honored during the convention. Rhonda Walker is receiving an award. Al Dunmore started out the Michigan Chronicle. We have Robert Magruder, Free Press.
Former editor, close friend of mine.
Jamel Hill, Detroit native. She's our Journalist of the Year. You had that honor a couple of years ago.
A million years ago.
Rob Parker is Sports Journalist of the Year. So it's going to be great. And people can attend our award ceremony. You can find out all the information you need to know at DetroitNABJ.org.
We've only got about 2 minutes left, but Jamilah, I'm curious how you see the whole diversity question as somebody who's just coming into the business.
Oh, that is a loaded question, but I'll be brief. Again, I've only been in the field for about 3 years, and I've done a lot. I've been blessed to do a lot. I first came out, I was at WWJ with Vickie as a part-time producer, and I think that was probably the most impactful thing that I've done since graduating. Of course, being a reporter is cool. You get to be out there in front of the story, but being behind the desk as a producer, you get to choose which stories
really
go out,
managing
who does what. And so anytime there was a story about, people of color, that was going to the top of the news story. So, it's very important for us, millennials, to get the training, to know how to not necessarily argue your points, but make the point that this is important because
to win the argument.
Yeah, these are our listeners. These are the people that are tuning in. These are the people that are essentially, making sure we get paid. So it's important to have their stories told, and that has transferred over to what I do with the city now at the neighborhoods.org, and making sure that voices that aren't usually heard, their stories are now being told, and you get such a positive response.
They get a platform.
And the job fair, the career fair.
The career fair is the thing, right?
That is the place to be.
How many people at this table got jobs?
Right.
Yeah.
Dozens of employers.
I would love to be able to talk more about this, but we are out of time. So congratulations on getting it back here.
Thank you.
This will be a fabulous week in the city.
Yes, it will be.
Yeah. All right, that's our program for today. Thanks for watching. You can get more information about our guests at AmericanBlackJournal.org. And as always, you can connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time.
As American Black Journal looks ahead at the next 50 years, we want to hear from you, the viewers. Tell us what you think of this program and what you'd like to see on future episodes. Visit AmericanBlackJournal.org to take a quick survey and share your opinion. Thank you.
American Black Journal is funded by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first.
How does diversity bring energy to us all? At DTE Energy, we believe that it's the contributions of all that build great communities. As a company, we grow stronger by welcoming the unique perspectives of everyone. As community members, we support our state's broad culture and heritage. From working closely with women and minority-owned suppliers to embracing our local cultures, DTE Energy is powering diversity. The DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public Television. Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta Faucets, Craft-Made in Maryland cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.